Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Recovery Classroom. My name is Drew. I am an alcoholic, and today I'm a recovering alcoholic, and I cannot be any more grateful. Day in, day out, you hear me come on here and just talk about the importance of meetings. Go to this meeting, try that meeting, go to Zoom meetings, start your own meetings, have a meeting in the Waffle House or the IHOP or the produce aisle at the supermarket. Meetings are important. Why are they so important? How are they important? That's what I wanted to talk about today. Yesterday, I shared about how I had all these insecurities and low self esteem, and I felt inadequate, never felt like I was good enough. And I think human beings have this innate desire to want to feel like they belong somewhere. We run in packs. That's why we have friends. We have our friend group or whatever you want to call it. And I never felt that way. But I still wanted to participate in society, right? I just couldn't become a hermit. So I would hide in a press box, and I would announce baseball and softball games, and people could hear me, but they couldn't see me because I never wanted them to see who I was, at least see me through my own eyes. That's what I was always afraid of. And so I hid because I felt like I didn't belong. Well, coming into the rooms of recovery, I found out a place where I belong. And it was through these meetings that I began attending that allowed me to realize, you know what, I do belong here. I do belong. These are my people. And I remember that one meeting that I walked into by accident or by divine accident, I should say, divine intention. I walked in there and I remember it was like first 5 minutes, I was like, these are my people. I felt like I belong. That's why meetings are incredibly important. First and foremost, a meeting allows you to identify. When I was talking about the press box yesterday, I was talking about how I suffered in silence. I was by myself. No one, I would look out at all the people at the ball field. No one understood what I was going through. Coming into meetings, I realized these people know exactly what the hell I'm going through. It may not be exact circumstances that they've gone through, but they can still understand. They still relate. And they can relate to me. And that was incredibly important and significant for me because, again, I thought I was a lone wolf. I thought no one would ever understand what it is I'm going through. Going to the meetings, other folks understood how I would always think about alcohol, how I'd always think about drinking. And so that established in my mind a connection. These people understand what I'm going through right now. It also reiterated the fact that I'm not alone. Again, I suffered by myself in that press box. I didn't have to suffer by myself. I didn't have to suffer at all. But going into meetings made me realize I'm not alone. People understand. It gave me something tangible, physical, tangible evidence that for as bad as my situation may be, well, I'm probably going to be okay. Because the guy sitting next to me in the meeting, hell, he might have gone through worse, and well, he's still sitting beside me. He's still alive. He's still breathing. He's still functioning as an adult, as a human being. And so, if anything, it gave me physical, tangible proof. I could poke the guy in the shoulder, and realize he's a real person. He's gone through shit. And he's still got 30 years of sobriety, 40 years of sobriety, and I would have never got that had I not started attending meetings. It gave me an opportunity to talk to others. Again, I hid in a press box, talked on a microphone, right? But going to meetings allowed me to talk one-on-one with individuals, a plethora of individuals, many folks. That's why I always talk about how show up before the meeting, stay late after the meeting, and use that opportunity, use those windows of opportunity to ask questions and things like that. It also allowed me an opportunity to do what I call window shopping for sponsors. And I would go to meetings. I would sit and listen to people. I'd listen to them share. I would watch and observe their interactions before and after the meeting. But I would listen to people share, and I'd go, man, this person here, they got an idea of what I'm trying to aspire to, right? That's along the same lines of what I'm trying to do. So it gave me an opportunity to kind of survey the landscape. Now, keep in mind, when I first came back into the rooms, I didn't want a sponsor. But as I started, the more frequently I started attending meetings, the more I realized the importance of having a sponsor. So those meetings, again, gave me an opportunity to kind of window shop for my sponsors. And most importantly, I think, this was probably one of the biggest takeaways, is it allows me to build a network of folks that I can call in the event that I start having thoughts of drinking or drugging again, right? As a matter of fact, if you look at my phone list, my contact list, everybody that I meet in recovery rooms anyway, everybody I meet in the recovery rooms, and I store their number. I always store it starting with AA. So it might be like AA Joe, AA Susie, AA Sally, AA Fred. Right. So that way, when I do pull up my contact list on my phone, the very first thing you see is all AA folks. That way they're ready to go. They're immediately available for me should I ever have the desire to drink and I need to reach out. I can't say, well, I had to go searching for your contact. No, all my AA folks, they all start with, well, AA in my contact list. It's important when we go into the meetings, listen to what's being said, listen to it, try to relate to it, try to go, okay, it's not exact, but I can understand what they're saying. I can relate it to this particular event in my life. You want to be careful though, not to compare stories, but use, when you listen to folks, identify, don't compare, and don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. When somebody, when there's something you relate to and you got a question, write it down and then ask them after the meeting, ask them before the next meeting, but write it down. But don't be afraid to ask them questions. And to that point, some meetings allow you to crosstalk. Matter of fact, that's why we have the crosstalk meetings. If you want to ask a question, wait till the person is done talking and crosstalk. Ask them the question. Crosstalk meetings, we don't care about that. But there are meetings. Every meeting has their own set of rules that they want to follow. Be respectful of those rules. Try to follow those rules. And if it's not working out, well, you can always find another meeting. There's a ton of meetings. You can go to meetings online for sure. But keep in mind, I hear people say, we talked about this the other night. I've heard people say, well, I don't like this meeting. It was a bad meeting. And my sponsor says it all the time, and I think he's right. There's no such thing as a bad meeting. There are meetings that show me who I want to become, and then there are meetings that show me who I do not want to become. So take that to heart as well. Keep in mind, first and foremost, when it comes to meetings, and maybe there's a meeting you don't like, or maybe you're not following the rules to the letter, you are there for you. Not nobody else. You were at that meeting for you yourself. And so again, if you're going to these meetings for yourself, don't be afraid to say, you know what, this meeting's probably not for me. Let me go find another meeting. I think it's really important. Be willing to share. Think back when we were kids, we had toys. We'd share our toys. We'd let another kid play with the toy, then kid would give it back, we'd play with it, and we'd give it. That's sharing. It's a two-way street. And usually when we go into meetings, we think, well, we're just going to listen. And that's fair. That's nothing wrong. You want to do that, right? But that's where we start seeing people, well, I start comparing. So my story's not as bad as their story. So I'm just not going to say, I'm just going to listen to what they have to say. Are we really sharing? If they're giving to me their experience, strength, and hope, but I'm giving nothing back, is that really called sharing? No. And maybe, quite frankly, maybe that person that's telling me, giving me their experience, strength, and hope, maybe they're hoping for something in return. Maybe there's something going on in their life that they haven't immediately shared with you yet. But maybe I have something I can share back and give back to them that might help them overcome what it is. I used to say this all the time, and I still firmly believe it. No matter how many days of sobriety, no matter how many years of sobriety you have, the time doesn't matter. What matters is you're willing to speak up. And this is still one of my favorite sayings. You never know who needs to hear what it is you might have to say, because it could just change someone's life, including your own. That person that you're giving back to, they just might need to hear what it is that you have to share. So don't be afraid to speak up. Don't be afraid to ask questions, and don't be afraid to participate in meetings. With that being said, I'll let you guys go. Thank you guys for letting me come in and share 5 to 10 minutes of your day with you. You guys absolutely keep me sober, and I cannot be any more appreciative. If there's a topic you'd like to hear discussed, feel free to drop it into an email to me, Drew, D-R-E-W, at recoveryclassroom.org. I'll take a look at it, see what we can do. We'll be talking again soon. Remember, guys, you can't get drunk if you don't take that first drink.